Hey guys, in a few of my last videos I mentioned that it's not always a bad thing to say that you don't know something or you need help with some part of the job. That gave me an idea to give you some of the tips and tricks on how can you answer a question like what are your weaknesses in an interview. In one of the recent videos that I saw, I heard someone say that in the job interview world, the weaknesses are things that can be improved. A bad example of a weakness is if you say to the person you're speaking with that you get very nervous under a lot of pressure. This is more of a personal trait and it's not something that they can help you with, it's something that you need to fix. And you just need to phrase it a little bit differently. When they hear you say that you get nervous under a lot of pressure, that just tells them that if the time comes when there's a lot of work, they can't really rely on you to perform the job on your own. This is an example of how not to present your weaknesses during an interview. Another thing to avoid saying is that you're focusing too much on details instead of looking at the bigger picture. This just tells the person that you're speaking with that you're trying to avoid answering the questions about your weaknesses. Let's define what is a weakness. A weakness is something that occurs in a specific situation that you have improved and will continue to improve. Now, let's talk about some of the things that you can do to improve your answer. First of all, instead of giving an answer that you are nervous under pressure, try giving them a realistic scenario of what that looks like. You can tell something like, in a situation where I am overwhelmed with my tasks, I try to finish everything at once instead of focusing on a specific task. What I like to do now is to plan out my week and schedule some times in my calendars when I'm going to be focusing on a specific task. This makes me more organized and I'm able to complete my tasks successfully before the deadline. Answering like this shows your weakness, but on the other hand, it also shows what you have done in the past to improve it and how will you continue improving it in the future. You can apply this type of answer to any sort of weakness that you can imagine. It's just a matter of how you answer it and the way you presented it. But what can you do to figure out what are your weaknesses? You can take a few minutes out of your day and just write down some of your past concerns and current concerns about yourself and your work. We all have some concerns. I, for example, have a tendency to focus a lot on details instead of looking at the bigger picture. This is something that I have noticed before, but over the past 6 months, I got the same feedback from my leader and my co-workers. When you take some time to think, you will figure out your weaknesses as well. You don't need to share this with anyone. This list of weaknesses is for you to have and to find out what are the best ways to improve on each of those weaknesses. Most of the weaknesses that you're putting on that list, I can almost guarantee that most of them will be occurring in specific situations, like being overwhelmed with tasks at work or being impatient. This is not something that happens to you all the time, but you become like that in a specific situation. Once you figure out what are your current and past weaknesses, take the form for answering the question that I gave you at the beginning and develop individual stories for each. They don't have to be long or super complicated. You just want to give them an idea of what your weakness is, in what situation it comes up, and what are you doing to improve it. Now you know how to answer on a question, what are your weaknesses? If you want to know how to look more confident on an interview or how to look better on an interview, I will link those videos in the description below. Be sure to check them out. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and comment below on what your weaknesses are using the form that I gave you. I would love to see how creative you can be. Thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel for more interview tips and tricks, and I'll see you in my next video.